Let's slow down and really understand what's being claimed here. Kim Kardashian is working toward becoming a lawyer, which means passing California's bar exam and, just as importantly, clearing the state's moral character review. That process isn't optional. And if someone were actually convicted of perjury, that alone could seriously damage, or even block, that path. Now enter Ray J, who is publicly accusing Kim and Kris Jenner of lying under oath.
He isn't being subtle about it.
He's making the claim openly, saying he has support to back it up. That turns this from gossip into something that at least touches the legal system, even if it hasn't been proven. Back in March 2026, both Kim and Kris—
Wait, let me make sure you heard that correctly. Kim Kardashian is studying to become a lawyer. She needs to pass the California bar exam. But before she can even take the oath, the state has to decide she has moral character. A perjury conviction invalidates that application on the spot. Now, Ray J's attorney is standing in front of cameras saying Kim and her mother, Kris Jenner, flat out lied under oath. He is not whispering this. He is not filing it in a footnote. He is saying it out loud, on the record, with a witness ready to back him up. So here is the situation. The woman who wants to be a lawyer may have committed the one crime that guarantees she never will be. And the trap was set by her own sworn signature.
Submitted sworn declarations in Los Angeles Superior Court. These weren't casual statements. They were signed under penalty of perjury. Kim denied Ray J's version of events and insisted the accusations were false, even noting that the situation could harm her chances of becoming a lawyer. That alone shows she sees this case as directly tied to her future career. Kris went further emotionally, saying the allegations have affected her for years and caused—
Kim and Kris each walked into Los Angeles Superior Court and filed sworn declarations. These are not press statements. These are not Instagram stories. These are documents signed under penalty of perjury. Kim wrote that Ray J's claim about her and her mother planning the tape release was a lie. She wrote that her family is not a criminal enterprise. Then she added something that sounded less like a denial and more like a desperate plea. She said Ray J's claims are hurting her chances of becoming a lawyer. She put her bar exam prospects into a court filing as evidence. That is not a casual mention. That is her admitting, under oath, that this case is a direct threat to her career. Then Kris went further. She said the allegation that she orchestrated her daughter's tape has haunted me for decades. She said she has been in therapy because of what Ray J put her through. She said she was absolutely heartbroken, crushed, and devastated. Those are powerful words. They are also a dangerous choice. Because if someone else can prove those words are false, Kris just handed them the weapon. Now look at what Ray J is saying. His countersuit from November 2025 is not vague. He claims Kris Jenner personally introduced him to Stephen Hirsch, the CEO of Vivid Entertainment, back in 2007. He claims all three of them planned the release together. He claims they staged a fake lawsuit so Kim could play the victim while the tape made everyone involved very rich. The official story for almost 20 years was that the tape leaked without Kim's knowledge. That story launched a reality TV empire, a cosmetics fortune, a shapewear brand, and a law career that has not even started yet. If Ray J is telling the truth, the entire origin story is a fabrication. The accident was a business plan. The victim was a performer, and the mother who says she was haunted was allegedly the one holding the roadmap.
Real distress. But statements like that, while powerful, can become risky if opposing evidence ever contradicts them. On the other side, Ray J's countersuit from late 2025 lays out a very different version of history.
So we have two sworn versions of reality sitting on the same court docket. Both cannot be true. Either Kris was haunted or Kris was the orchestrator. Someone committed perjury. Then Stephen Hirsch stepped forward. On March 14, 2026, Ray J's legal team announced that the man who physically released that tape in 2007 is willing to testify against Kim and Kris in open court under oath. Stop there. Hirsch is not some random source with secondhand gossip. He was the CEO of Vivid. He signed the distribution agreements. He knew who brought him the deal. According to Ray J's attorney, Trey King, Hirsch is prepared to sit in a witness box and tell a jury exactly what happened behind closed doors. That testimony has not happened yet. Let me repeat that. Hirsch has not testified. The offer is on the table, but the actual words have not been spoken in court. That means the family still has time. It also means the threat is still hanging. Before Hirsch came forward, this was a he said, she said between a reality TV family and a singer most people had not thought about in years. Now there is a third party, a named one, a rich one. One with no obvious reason to destroy his own legacy unless he is telling the truth. And this is where the legal stakes turn into real human stakes. Kim has been studying for the bar exam for years. She has failed multiple times. She has been open about the struggle. California does not play games with moral character. You cannot lie on a law school application. You cannot lie in a court filing. And you definitely cannot commit perjury while begging the state to let you practice law. Trey King said it out loud. If Kim hopes to become a lawyer, making sworn statements that are not true could seriously backfire. She could face criminal perjury prosecution if it is proven she lied under oath. That is not a tabloid headline. That is a prosecutor's opening statement if this case ever goes that far. A ruling on Ray J's motion to dismiss is expected any day now. If the judge denies that motion, the case goes to trial. If it goes to trial, Hirsch takes the stand. And if Hirsch takes the stand, Kim's bar exam eligibility becomes a hostage to whatever he says.
He claims Kris introduced him to Stephen Hirsch, and that the release of the tape back in 2007 was not accidental but planned. He even alleges that a lawsuit at the time was staged to shape public perception. If that version were ever proven, it would challenge the long-standing narrative that the tape was released without Kim's consent. But right now, that's still just one side's claim. The situation becomes more serious because Hirsch has reportedly indicated he's willing to.
Now watch how this widens. The perjury trap did not set itself. Someone allegedly built it. And according to Ray J's filing, that someone was Kris Jenner. The countersuit says Kris did not just know about the tape. She introduced the players. She allegedly made the introduction to Hirsch. She allegedly helped craft the fake lawsuit that made Kim look like an innocent victim. That is not a mother protecting her daughter from a leak. That is a manager turning a private moment into a product. And if that allegation is true, then everything the Kardashians have built for 20 years was not an accident. It was a launch plan. The fame was not stumbled into. It was engineered, which raises a question the family has never been able to shake. If Kris did that in 2007, what else did she do? Then the judge stepped in. On a Monday in late March or early April of 2026, Judge Stephen A. Ellis denied Kim and Kris's motion to keep their 2023 settlement with Ray J private. Ellis said the pair presented no admissible evidence that releasing the settlement would harm them. He called their arguments too vague and too speculative. In plain English, the judge told them the court did not believe their privacy concerns were real. That settlement reportedly paid Ray J $6 million. The documents could contain admissions about who controlled the tape, who signed off on the deal, and what everyone knew back in 2007. The judge did not just open a door, he pried it off the hinges. And now those documents could drop at any time. When they do, we may finally see whether the official story was a leak or a launch. So where does this leave us right now? Kim Kardashian is waiting to hear if a judge will let this case move forward. Stephen Hirsch is waiting to testify. The sealed settlement is waiting to be unsealed. Kris Jenner's sworn statement that she was haunted for decades is sitting directly across from Ray J's allegation that she planned the whole thing from the beginning. One of those versions is about to collide with witness testimony and documents that have never seen daylight. Kim's law career is not an abstract possibility anymore. It is a direct casualty waiting to happen. The only thing standing between her and a perjury finding is a witness who has not spoken yet, and a stack of paper the court just ordered into the light. We do not know what happens next, but some sworn version of this story is about to crack, and the rest of us get to watch which one it is.
To testify. That matters because he was directly involved in the business side of the tape's release. Still, it's important to remember, he hasn't actually testified yet. Until that happens in court, nothing is confirmed so what we really have is a conflict between sworn statements. That alone doesn't automatically mean perjury. Courts deal with contradictory accounts all the time. For it to become a criminal issue, there would need to be clear proof that someone knowingly.
That countersuit Ray J filed back in November 2025 keeps getting stranger the more you read it. He is not just asking for money. He is claiming the family violated federal racketeering laws. The same RICO statute built to take down the mob. The same law that just put Sean Diddy Combs behind bars. Ray J has been saying this out loud for months. On a Twitch livestream in September 2025, he said, "The federal RICO I am about to drop on Kris and Kim is about to be crazy." He told TMZ the Kardashians were worse than Diddy. That is not a casual insult. That is a man signaling he believes this was not one shady deal, but an organized criminal pattern stretching across years. So what does RICO actually change about how we understand this case? It means the allegation is no longer just that Kris made one phone call back in 2007. It is that the family operated as an enterprise, that the fake lawsuit, the staged leak, and the subsequent cover-up were all part of a coordinated scheme designed to generate fame and money through fraud. Ray J's filing claims this pattern continued for years, and here is where the legal system starts to look genuinely unstable for the Kardashians. A judge has already signaled he does not buy their privacy arguments. When Judge Stephen A. Ellis denied their motion to seal the 2023 settlement, he said they presented no admissible evidence of harm. That is judicial code for, "You are not convincing me." If the same skepticism applies to the rest of their defense, this case could move forward much faster than anyone inside that family is ready for. The money in that settlement is not the real story. The real story is what the documents might contain: admissions about who controlled the tape, who signed off on the release, whether there was ever a genuine leak or just a production schedule with a fake lawsuit attached. The judge did not just deny the motion, he pried the door open. When those documents finally see daylight, we may discover whether Kris Jenner's sworn statement about being haunted for decades matches what she signed in private. That gap between public testimony and private paper is where reputations are at risk. The documents could drop at any time. But here is something that does not get talked about enough. The same week the judge refused to seal that settlement, Ray J's legal team quietly filed a motion asking the court to compel Kris and Kim to sit for new depositions. They want to question them again, this time with the judge's ruling already on the record. That means the family would have to answer questions knowing the court has already called their privacy arguments too vague. Lawyers will tell you that changes everything. Once a judge says no admissible evidence to one of your claims, every follow-up question gets sharper. Every denial looks more exposed, and the person asking the questions gets to remind the witness, on the record, that the court did not believe them the first time.
He lied about a key fact. There's also discussion about broader legal claims, including references to the RICO Act, which is typically used in complex criminal cases involving organized wrongdoing. But invoking that law doesn't mean it will hold up. It's extremely difficult to prove.
You can almost hear how that deposition would go. Ray J's attorney pulls out the judge's language. He reads it aloud. No admissible evidence. Then he asks Kris again whether she introduced Hirsch to Ray J. She says no. He asks whether she signed off on the release. She says no. Then he asks why the judge did not believe her privacy arguments. And the only answer she can give is that the judge was wrong. That is not a good place to be when you are under oath. It is an even worse place to be when Stephen Hirsch is sitting in a conference room down the hall, waiting to give his own version of events under the same oath. Now add another layer. The sealed settlement reportedly contains a confidentiality clause that both sides signed. But here is the catch. If the settlement documents prove that the tape release was planned, not leaked, then Kim and Kris may have signed an agreement that directly contradicts their sworn declarations. That is not just embarrassing. That is evidentiary. A jury would get to see the signature page. They would get to see the date. They would get to see whether anyone admitted anything about who controlled the tape. And the judge has already ruled that the public has a right to see those documents, so the family cannot hide behind confidentiality anymore. The only question is how fast the documents get released and what name is on the signature line next to the admission.
Stage. Everything hinges on what evidence actually comes out. If the case moves forward, if witnesses testify, and if documents become public, then the picture could become clearer. Until then, it's a dispute filled with strong accusations, but not established conclusions. The real answer to what happens next is simple. It depends on what can be proved.
This is where the legal pressure turns into something worse than a trial loss. Even if the case never goes to a jury, even if Ray J settles tomorrow, the documents are coming out. The deposition transcripts are coming out. The judge has made that clear. So Kris and Kim are not just fighting to win a lawsuit. They are fighting to keep their sworn statements from being publicly contradicted by paper they signed with their own hands. And once that paper sees daylight, the moral character determination for Kim's bar exam does not need a criminal conviction. It just needs a judge or a bar examiner to read the documents and decide that she was not truthful. That is the real ticking clock, not the trial date, not the witness stand. The moment those documents hit the public docket. Now watch the timing on something else. On November 8, 2025, Kris Jenner threw herself a 75th birthday party at Jeff Bezos's Beverly Hills mansion. The guest list was absurd. Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Oprah, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, Beyoncé, Bruno Mars performed. The party cost $6.5 million. Police were called multiple times. Almost every single person walking in was covering their face from photographers. That by itself is strange behavior for people who usually love cameras. But here is the detail that made the internet's eyes narrow. That party happened right as new Epstein files were about to drop. The timing was not loose. It was right then. So the question spreading across TikTok, Reddit, and Twitter has been the same one over and over. Was that really a birthday party, or was it a meeting?